Welcome back to the Ignite Test Prep podcast, the Vanguard podcast. This one is different. It's called The Mob, the Money, and the Game.
Inside college basketball's gambling scandal. Alright, to begin, what if I told you that the college basketball game you're watching isn't real? That the players on the court aren't trying to win, they're trying to lose by just the right amount.
And what if I told you that the person they're taking orders from isn't their coach? It's a member of the Lucchese crime family. And that this isn't a movie, it's happening right now, 2025, in American college basketball.
This is the story of the biggest gambling scandal to hit college sports in a generation. A story of game fixing, mafia-backed betting rings, and student athletes who became pawns in a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise.
This is the story of how the mob infiltrated college basketball. And it's a story that every parent in America needs to hear.
It all started on November 7th, 2025. NCAA dropped a bombshell. A complete bombshell. They announced that 6 former men's college basketball players had been permanently banned from the sport for their involvement in gambling schemes. Just think about that.
Former men's college basketball players. And this happened November 7th, 2025. We're talking about 1 week ago. And this wasn't just a few players betting on games. This was organized game manipulation. The most shocking case came from the University of New Orleans. These 3 players, A.J. Hunter, Quavian Short, and Jamon Vincent, were found to have manipulated their performance in 7 different games.
7 different games. Let's be clear about what that means. They were actively trying to lose by a certain number of points to beat the spread at sportsbooks. Think about that. And we have the receipts for this. According to the NCAA report, during a timeout in a game against McNeese State, DeQuavion Short literally told another player, and I'm quoting directly from the report, they said not to score any more points. Just think about that. They said not to score any more points.
In the middle of a game, a player is instructing his own teammate to stop trying. New Orleans was a 23-point underdog in that game. They lost by 25. And according to another athlete who testified after the game, Short and Hunter drove 45 minutes outside of New Orleans to meet someone and pick up cash.
Wow. And this wasn't a one-time thing either. LA found evidence of this in 7 different games. Think about that, 7 different games. They found text messages on Jamon Vincent's phone with screenshots from FanDuel and DraftKings showing specific amounts to wager. Specific amounts. They found texts between Short and Hunter discussing a $5,000 payment.
This wasn't just a few kids making bad decisions. It obviously went a whole lot deeper. This was a coordinated criminal conspiracy. And it wasn't just happening at New Orleans.
At Mississippi Valley State, 2 players, and these 2 players were Donovan Sanders and Alvin Stredick. They were offered money to throw a game against Alabama, and in another game against Tulsa, sportsbooks flagged a series of huge bets that came in on Tulsa to cover the 26-point spread. Mississippi Valley State lost by 45 points.
The NCAA found that the betting handle for one of the games was 3.6 times higher than the average for the conference. That is a massive red flag. And when the NCAA investigated, they found that Sanders had been overheard on the phone discussing throwing the game, and he had even tried to recruit other players into the scheme. He told them to delete their texts afterward.
And then there's Arizona State, where a player named BJ Freeman was caught giving inside information to a former teammate who was betting on his individual stats on a daily fantasy site, by the way. This wasn't just about winning or losing, to be honest. It was about manipulating every aspect of the game simply for profit. It's crazy.
So, in just a span of a few days, we have 6 players banned for life from 3 different schools, all involved in sophisticated gambling schemes. But this was just a tip of the iceberg, because the real story wasn't about the players, it was about who was pulling the strings.
Just 6 days after the NCAA announcement, on November 13th, 2025, the other shoe dropped. The New Jersey Attorney General announced that 14 people had been charged for their roles in a multi-million-dollar illegal sports betting ring with direct links to organized crime.
And at the center of all of it was a man named Joseph Perna, but you might know him by his other name, Little Joe Perna. He was a member of the Lucchese crime family.
According to the indictment, Little Joe and his associates, including his sons, his stepsons, and his cousins, they ran a nationwide network of bookmakers. They used offshore websites to handle approximately $2 million in bets over 2 years. Over 2 years. And here's the bombshell about it. The Attorney General stated that several college athletes operated sports books at the direction of Perna's organization.
So now we got Mafia involved. We're talking about millions upon millions of dollars in bets. And we're talking about a highly sophisticated Mafia sportsbook gambling operation. Let that sink in. College athletes weren't just being paid to throw games, they were being recruited by the mob to become bookies themselves, running their own sports books as part of a massive criminal enterprise. This is a level of corruption we have not seen in college sports in decades.
And the investigation revealed that this wasn't just a college sports ring. The same gambling accounts that were placing these suspicious bets on college games were also placing large wagers on NBA games involving Jonte Porter, the former Toronto Raptors player who was banned from the league for life, and Terry Rozier, who was on the Miami Heat, who was just charged in a federal indictment.
This is a sprawling, interconnected web of corruption that stretched from college campuses to the highest levels of professional sports, all organized and orchestrated by mafia crime. And the NCAA has admitted that they're investigating approximately 30 current or former men's basketball players. But all of this is just the beginning.
How does this even happen? How do college students who are supposed to be getting an education and competing for the love of the game end up even working for the mob?
It starts with vulnerability. These are young men, many from low income backgrounds, who are generating millions of dollars for the universities, but they're not seeing a dime of it. They're under immense pressure, surrounded by a culture that glorifies money and fame. They're perfect targets for criminal organizations that look to exploit the system.
And the system is ripe for exploitation. The rise of legalized sports betting has created a perfect storm. It's easier than ever to just place a bet, and the lines between legal and illegal are becoming increasingly blurred. For a student athlete who sees everyone else getting rich off their labor, the temptation to take a shortcut can be overwhelming.
So, what does a massive gambling scandal have to do with college admissions and test prep? See, on the surface, nothing. But if you dig deeper, it actually reveals a fundamental truth about the American education system, that it's actually failing to prepare our students for the real world.
We spend too much time focused on the front door of college, the SAT scores, the GPA, the essays, but we spend almost no time talking about what happens once they get inside. We don't teach them about the financial literacy. We don't teach them about the ethics. We don't teach them about how to navigate a world that is full of temptation and moral compromise.
The players in this scandal didn't just wake up one day and decide to work for the mob. They were the products of a system that prioritizes athletic performance above all else, that fails to provide them with the life skills that they actually need to succeed, which leaves them vulnerable to exploitation. Their universities failed them, the NCAA failed them, and the entire system failed them.
At Ignite, we believe that true education isn't just about getting into a top school. It's about building the character, the integrity, and the critical thinking skills to thrive once you're here. It's about becoming the kind of person who can't be bought, who can't be manipulated, and who understands that the easy way is almost never the right way.
This is where our spiderweb mentor matrix comes into play. See, our mentor matrix is not just about improving your grades. It's about surrounding you with a network of high achieving peers, mentors, all of whom hold you to a higher standard. You're not really going to learn the necessary skills of life without having people who are much, much further ahead of you who can teach you the ways. Because while moral failings can seem alluring at first, it usually takes a wiser mentor to tell you, nah, stay away from that stuff and stay on the straight and narrow toward your dreams. And so, really, our Spiderweb Mentor Matrix is all about building a community of excellence, an environment of absolute ambition and accountability where integrity is non negotiable.
A direct winner mentorship isn't just about testing strategies. It's about learning from someone who's already navigated the pressures and temptations of elite college life and come out on top. It's about learning how to make the right decisions when nobody's watching.
This scandal is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that a high test score or a spot on a Division 1 team is worthless if it's not built on a good foundation of character. And it's a sign that parents need to be asking a different set of questions. Not just, can you get my child into a good school, but can you help my child become a good person?
The story of the 2025 college basketball gambling scandal is still unfolding. FBI is involved, more players will be named, more lives will be ruined, and it's a tragedy. But it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to have a real conversation about the purpose of education. It isn't, it's is it just about getting ahead at any cost, or is it about building a generation of leaders who are defined by their integrity, not just their accomplishments? We believe it's the latter. And we believe that the work we do at Ignite is more important now than ever. We're not just creating great students, we're creating great people. If you want to learn about our philosophy and how we build a character and critical thinking into every aspect of our program, click the link in the show notes to download our free Black Book. It's intelligence the system doesn't want you to have. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Great episode. Catch you on the next one. Download that Black Book. Peace out.